Right, so I'm. This is the way things have gone. We came down on Friday night. I came down to Canterbury with my mother and my father and my nan, and Tiffany and Paul. They also came down, but they travelled down in her Mini. Rosie and Tom didn't come because, of course, they're still on honeymoon at the moment. And we were coming down because our cousin, on my mother's side, so my mother's sister's children, their oldest was getting married. So we came down for that. And the nearest big town to the place was Canterbury, so we booked in a hotel overnight, which was good. So as soon as work was finished on the Friday, amid all the thunderstorms, one moment it was fantastic weather, the next minute it was such a total downpour. It was like a cloud burst or a flash flood that driving visibility on the motorway was like nearly zero. But it was over very quickly, so so it was all right. And we came down straight away, obviously all the way from Harrogate, so it was quite a long journey, 5 odd hours-ish, and checked in, and we all had different rooms. My nan was supposed to be on the ground floor in a disabled flat, just because she's elderly, but no, they sent her up 3 flights of stairs, which was a bit weird. Because they had phoned to confirm that we'd got the right room. So that was my first inkling that they weren't brilliant here. Having said that, the rooms were incredibly cheap, and they were cheap because we were told that the building hadn't been built when we booked them, which is another fallacy, because actually this building was originally 2 buildings. It was the Chaucer Hotel, and it was a big sort of house. And those 2 were eventually combined, the house and the Chaucer Hotel, to make just one hotel. And that building is old enough to be listed, which is why they couldn't put a lift in, you see, so she had to climb the stairs. Now, a listed building, one of the requirements is that it is incredibly old, and so the chances of it being built in the last 2 months are very, very slim indeed. However, what they mean is they have completely refurbished the inside, and largely it's been done incredibly well. So anyway, my nan was up 3 flights of stairs, if you like, in one of the wings, and everybody else was in another wing. I had a room on my own. My parents were down the corridor, and my sister was down another corridor. So it was late, we checked in, we all went to bed. And then the next day we all met downstairs, and we had our breakfast. And breakfast was quite good. You could have a continental breakfast, sort of with croissants, so to speak, and toast. You could have cereal, which was nice. They had quite a range as well. And they had a cooked breakfast, which was sort of help yourself. Imagine a sort of canteen style machine, so to speak, and you just sort of went along and scooped out what you wanted. Of course, that was only really bacon, scrambled egg and sausage. It wasn't like, you know, hash browns and waffles and nothing like that. But it was good nonetheless. And they had coffee machines, and they had juice and stuff like that, so it was all right. Then I went exploring in Canterbury, and I went under the subway and into the pedestrianised bit of town, and I walked along for a little bit, and eventually I found Canterbury Cathedral. Canterbury Cathedral is weird in that they charge for entry into the grounds itself. Most cathedrals in this country are built within their own sort of wall. In a lot of places that wall has fallen down, but in some places it still exists, and there is what you call a bar gate, which is a gate in the middle of a wall. which is designed to sort of limit access into the cathedral. Now, Lincoln's Bargate is huge, and you just walk through it. You go into the cathedral and then you pay. Canterbury has set up their pay and display, so to speak, out to the Bargate, and their Bargate is very, very small indeed. So you have a load of people clustering around trying to take pictures of this cathedral, which is the most important cathedral in this country. And they can only get sort of like little bits. You have to pay to get in, to even take pictures of the outside of the building, which I actually find very bad, actually. I do find that very bad. But of course the reason they'll do that is because they don't want to be putting all that pay desks and stuff like that inside such an important cathedral. I think the only way they can really solve that is to have to actually build some sort of small hut inside the ground, so that people can walk through the Bargate, take pictures of the outside of the building, but then go into a hut to pay. I mean, this is what places like English Heritage and National Trust do. So anyway, that was by the by. Came back, got ready for the wedding, and then we travelled out to a place called Herne Hill, to a little church there. Had a fabulous wedding. It was very, very nice. The weather held for us, and then we went from there to a place called Mount Ephraim, which is sort of like a manor house really, with beautiful gardens, and we were able to walk around the gardens whilst there was a champagne reception, and then there was the meal. Meal was interesting because we were sat on tables with people we didn't know quite a lot, and also because it was a buffet, which I've never seen before at a wedding, and it worked. It was really actually very good. They had sort of hot dishes and cold dishes, and you went in and you spooned stuff out. It was very, very good. Then we went back through to the main hall for the speeches, which was a bit strange. They did the speeches standing on the stairs up to the balcony. Everybody else was in the hall below. That was quite a nice touch, but it was a bit strange. And then they had a sort of party, or you could wander in the grounds again. There was a sort of embarrassing moment where I, unfortunately, trod in dog poo in the grounds, and I had to scrape all that off with a stick and leaves and stuff, which wasn't very nice, but there we are. But that was near the end, so there we are. And my shoes and stuff like that have gone back with my parents. Now, my parents are going to Munderley on their holiday for a week, and they're dropping my nan off in Lincoln. She's on holiday there for 2 weeks. Tiffany and Paul have gone, of course, straight back to Harrogate, and I am going back to Harrogate slowly. I'm staying another night here, then tomorrow I'm spending the day in London before going home. So that's roughly what it is. Anyway, after the wedding and the reception, they came back here, and of course everybody left, and I decided I'd go back into town, as it was quite a nice evening, still light, and I walked along the Saxon walls of the city as far as the castle, which was nice. Walked back through a lovely park and investigated a burial mound, and then I went to the ruins of St Augustine's Abbey, which was sort of along the wall a different way, and then I came back here, and I spent some time in the bar downstairs that served sort of Coke as well and stuff like that, and wrote my journal. So it was very, very good indeed.